Is Paige set to sign for All Elite Wrestling? And we have an update on Jeff Hardy's ongoing DUI arrest. But first, a ton of information regarding the upcoming AEW console game has been leaked. In November 2020, it was announced that All Elite Wrestling were teaming up with Yuke's, as well as the WWF No Mercy and WCW NWO Revenge director Hideyuki Iwashita, to develop their own console video game. Since then, we've seen clips of gameplay, although nothing else has been revealed about the game modes, match types, and basically anything outside of the game engine itself. Well, last night, Amazon UK would briefly post a listing for the game that will be titled AEW Fight Forever, a listing that revealed a whole bunch of key details for the upcoming release. So with that said, let's run through the information that we know now. Developed by Yuke's Co. Limited, creators of numerous multi-million unit selling wrestling games, AEW Fight Forever combines that nostalgic arcade wrestler feel with innovative All Elite Wrestling finishers and tandem offensive moves. All Elite Wrestling is currently taking TNT and TBS networks by storm every week with their Rampage and Dynamite shows, featuring some of the biggest legends to enter the ring, plus a stable of brand new, high-flying AEW talent. AEW Fight Forever brings the best of the best from that talent roster together in one game. Online co-op wrestling is going completely next level in Fight Forever, with tag team matches that feature sequences of team maneuvers performed with simple commands, a deep career mode, wrestler customization, signature AEW arenas, multiple match types, and more match types than you can count, including some good old-fashioned unsanctioned fun all await. As well as this, the Amazon UK post listed December 31st, 2022 as a placeholder release date, with the game set to be available on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, as well as PC, with THQ named as the distributor. It's worth noting that the listing has now been removed from Amazon as of this recording, with it appearing that somebody accidentally clicked the publish button a little bit too early. But what do you make of the new details for AEW Fight Forever, and will you be picking the game up when it's finally released? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, could Renee Paquette be heading to AEW? This past weekend at StarCast 5, several wrestlers and wrestling personalities would take part in Q&A sessions, one of which was Renee Paquette, formerly known as Renee Young in WWE, where she worked as an interviewer, host, and color commentator. With Paquette now being a free agent after choosing to leave WWE in August 2020, she has yet to appear in another wrestling promotion since. This weekend, Paquette would be asked if she'll ever join her husband, interim AEW World Champion Jon Moxley, in All Elite Wrestling, with her revealing that she's never had any talks with the promotion. And Renee would say, "I've never had any actual conversations with Tony Khan. I've not had any conversations with anybody there about stepping in and doing that. There is one thing that I definitely learned, and that's that I don't love calling matches. Maybe it's conducting interviews, maybe it's finding some other kind of shows or some other kind of thing there, but I don't know, maybe." Since her WWE departure, Paquette has gone on to host her own podcast named The Sessions, where she interviews various people from the wrestling business. She is also a co-host of the Throwing Down podcast alongside former UFC Women's Bantamweight champion Miesha Tate. While she hasn't returned to wrestling just yet, she does regularly attend AEW events with her husband, and perhaps she'll be on screen at some point in the future. Next up, a wrestling legend has been hacked. Earlier this week, posts began to surface on the Twitter account of Mick Foley, offering people the opportunity to buy a PlayStation 5 console, with the money then going to charity. On top of that, some buyers would get the opportunity to accompany Mick to an upcoming show. Of course, people were quick to realize that this was a scam, with it clear that the hardcore legend had been hacked. Mick had earlier revealed on Instagram that the hacker was trying to extort money from him in order to gain access to the account. Thankfully, Foley would later release a video on his timeline confirming that he has regained access to his account, encouraging those that fell for the scam to contact their banks. And Mick would say, "Hello everyone, this is Mick Foley. It's August 1st and I'm happy to say that I'm back on Twitter. I feel terrible for the inconvenience of being hacked. Not just for myself, but I feel for anyone who fell for that ploy to purchase PlayStation 5 consoles. Please contact your bank or credit card and try to have that charge reversed. It was a scam. I'm really sorry that somebody tried to extort money from me. I'm so happy that I had some people working in my best interest and I'm back. And I'm really sorry for any complications they created, but this is my account and I'm back on it. Thanks." Mick would also mention in the caption of the video that he will be reaching out to those that may have been scammed via DM. Foley's account is one of many to fall victim to this kind of hack in recent times, with Bray Wyatt and many more having the same problem over recent months. And if you ever see your favourite wrestler selling PlayStation 5s in an offer that's too good to be true, know that it is definitely a scam. Next up, WWE stars are worried about losing their spot. Ever since Triple H would take the reins as WWE's head of creative, there's been a lot of optimism amongst fans that certain wrestlers who weren't considered stars by Vince McMahon may now have their time to shine. An example of this was seen at SummerSlam this past weekend when Dakota Kai and Io Shirai would make an appearance, aligning themselves with the returning Bayley. Kai had been released by the previous regime earlier this year, while Shirai was said to be heading out of the door, with WWE having no plans for her on the main roster, with their contract set to expire. With that said, Triple H clearly had different ideas. With the change of philosophy and names returning or getting pushes, this of course means some people will lose their spots. During the latest episode of Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer would reveal that several WWE stars are now worried, with him noting, "I've heard from some talent and generally, they are positive. There are definitely people who are worried that they're going to lose their spots. And there will be some people who will, because you're going to have different visions of who the top people are. Not everyone can be a top person." An example of somebody that may have lost their spot is Omos, who was previously pushed due to his sheer size and not necessarily his in-ring or promo ability. This past Monday, he was missing from Raw, having been relegated to the main event tapings. Whilst this doesn't confirm that he's out of Triple H's plans just yet, he could be an example of somebody who won't be booked as prominently going forward, and he no doubt won't be the only one. Next up, is Paige set to sign for All Elite Wrestling? Ever since news broke that the WWE contract of Paige was set to expire on July 1st, there's been a ton of speculation as to her future and a possible return to a wrestling ring. Having been forced to retire back in 2018 due to sustaining a neck injury, she has yet to wrestle since, although she is adamant that she will return to the ring at some point in the future. With that said, many fans had hoped that she will be signed to AEW, where she would be cleared by doctors, a possibility she discussed this past weekend at StarCast 5. When asked if she's heading to AEW, the now Saraya would say, "I'm in the middle of writing a book right now, which I'm really excited about. We got a book. It's going to be another year before it officially comes out. We're in the middle of writing that. We're doing other things, but I'm not allowed to say anything right now. It's non-wrestling related. Sorry guys, I'm not going to be going to AEW anytime soon. AEW seems great. I love AEW. I would love to face Britt Baker one day if the time is right. That would be awesome." Saraya would then go on to describe her ordeal when she suffered the neck injury that ended her career, revealing that she was initially paralyzed, and she would add, "Having your career taken away from you without you wanting it to, having to retire on not my terms, it was really disappointing. I already knew that once my neck got kicked in the middle of a live event match, once I went down, I was like, this is it, this is the end of my career. I couldn't feel my body, I lost control of my arms, my legs, then I'm just laying there and looking up at the referee like, I can't feel my body, I'm paralyzed right now." He threw up the X and I look at poor Sasha in the corner and she's like, "I'm so sorry. I told her if it wasn't you, it would have been someone else." It's clear that the injury Saraya suffered from was extremely serious, meaning any potential in-ring return should be held off until it's 100% safe to do so. While she's adamant that she will wrestle again, there is no sign of a return anytime soon. And finally, we have an update on Jeff Hardy's ongoing DUI arrest. Current AEW star Jeff Hardy was arrested on the morning of June 13th, 2022, being later charged with DUI, his third offence within 10 years, driving with a suspended licence, and violation of restrictions placed on driver's licence. The primary charge of a third DUI in 10 years is a felony under Florida law, with him being arrested in Volusia County, punishable by up to 5 years imprisonment should Hardy be convicted. The others fall under misdemeanor. Hardy was scheduled for arraignment today on August 2nd, 2022 in front of Volusia County Court. However, this was officially waived on July 27th due to a written plea of not guilty being filed with the court several weeks ago. PW Insider would provide more details on the situation yesterday, with Mike Johnson noting, "The not guilty plea was submitted on 6/28. At the time, the filing also noted defendant Jeffrey Nero Hardy, pursuant to Rules 3160A, Florida Rules of Criminal Procedure, waives arraignment by filing this written plea of not guilty, Albritton v. White 948. Defendant further waives the right to be present at all pre-trial conferences." The court is now listing August 17th as the next date in the case, with a pre-trial conference set for 8:30 a.m. that day. Whilst Hardy has filed a not guilty plea, it's believed that this is to set up a plea bargain later down the line to potentially reduce his sentencing. With the evidence against him, it's difficult to see not guilty being his final plea. And before you go, make sure you check out every All In wrestler that didn't sign for AEW.